Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. We got an important update here for you today. We're going to talk about CPI increasing, giving us a nice little pump here on the market as we can see Bitcoin rallying back to that 120K resistance. We'll also discuss a couple of important factors here, kind of comparing the coins that we're looking at, the obvious CME gaps that are still present, and this expansive wave here that we're in, potentially with the power of three. But I think the most important thing here, and take a look at this here, this is insane. We have 1 billion in ETF net inflow for Ethereum versus 178 million for Bitcoin. So that is huge. It's a big sign for altcoins. And even though altcoin season index is still fairly low, look at the amount of market capitalization. We're now hitting that $1.63 trillion mark. We're essentially establishing a high there here so far today. It's a very, very good sign. So altcoins are in really good shape, and all in all, not a bad situation here. Okay, so all those people kind of giving the doom and gloom. While we could still pull back, I still think we're very solid in this range. And with Ethereum kind of front running everything, there's a decent chance we see a continuation higher here for altcoins. But let's double check and not just be blind, blind to the facts or the back end data. Let's go ahead and take a look at some important stuff on the back end here and kind of just recognize where we're at there. Starting with Bitcoin, of course, and recognizing a few important things. First of all, we broke free from our bullish flag pattern. We've been discussing that for a while. That's just kind of an easy indication of the bullish momentum that we're having here. We also can see here that the average top trader is long versus short today. So they were shorting yesterday, today totally long. So that in combination with more bids than asks, basically more buy orders than sell orders, leads me to believe we're going to go higher. Let's double check here some important stuff on the back too. Once more, 120K is that resistance for Bitcoin. So we are going to need to see this consistent amount of volume to flow through that in order for us to get there. But liquidation long delta is at 10 billion. That's a very, very good sign. And we see here we're at 122K, upwards of 130,000 is that area of liquidation above the price. So once more incentive there to go higher. Let's double check the last 7 days though, because I'm kind of curious if we had some local liquidation swept there and just kind of quickly understanding where we're at. There is more liquidation on the downside in the last 7 days. So folks are, these are late longs essentially. We have 115,000 as a rough estimate as that lowest area of liquidation. So worst case scenario, we do end up pulling back. 114, 115 should provide us with some support, not because of liquidation, but liquidation accumulates at support zones. So just know that. Furthermore, take a look at the daily time frame. We want to recognize kind of just the obvious here. We're still fairly well bullish, but we still have yet to close above 120K. We have tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, almost 11 times to break that level. The more you try to break a resistance, the more like it is to break. Okay, the more if you imagine trying to kick a door down, if you just keep kicking it, it's probably eventually going to break. Okay, obviously depends on the type of door, but for the most part, that analogy exists here in crypto, basically implying that when you break a resistance, it's going to probably run too as well, and we may actually see that here soon. Furthermore, open interest, the money flow index, RSI, all these things are looking very positive here. We're remaining above our moving average. MACD's converged here and remaining so. There's a good chance we do continue further up here just based on some of these metrics we're seeing. Furthermore, we saw all of our SMAs hold pretty strong. Our 0.618, basically our golden pocket range, is holding. Keep in mind there's confluence there, so that does impact that. We can also see previously from our previous highs here, once again, 120,000 is that consistent rejection zone. So you could consider a short at 120. I think that'd be slightly higher risk than taking a long. But once more, that's just what everything's telling us here. It's not exact science ever, right? So we know that by now. Okay, so let's take a look here at Ethereum next, and just quickly note the backend data first, because obviously we all know, or if you haven't been living under a rock, that Ethereum's been doing fantastic. Over on the right here, we can see that open interest, there's heavier accumulation here at about 4230. That's kind of the average amount of volume here locally, but also secondary to that, roughly 4,000. So the price does end up pulling back. 4,000 will be a decent pivot point for us, just based on open interest support. 25 billion liquidation long delta. Bitcoin's at half or a third of that right now. That is insane. Good insane, of course, because the price action is more likely to go higher because of that. And we can see most of the local liquidation has been swept. Anybody shorting Ethereum is pretty much toast right now. There is 4,600 to 4,700 as a next rough estimate of consideration for either take profit or just in general, we're going to have some more shorts having a bad day up in that range. So that's kind of where we're at there on the back end. Looking at the front here, daily time frame telling us a lot here, really telling us that we are massively overextended. So big surprise. We've seen overextensions in crypto that don't really pull back because of it. I think there's something different going on right now, and it's not really a good coin to kind of consider shorting unless you like to lose money. Once more, we take a look here. All indications in the daily time frame, based on our moving averages and our oscillators, are telling us that we're going to go higher or maintain this current range. This volume should give you an indication that we're here to stay. Okay, I don't think we're going to go down anytime soon. You're going to need to. Everyone needs to sell their Ethereum at the same time, roughly. Okay, stochastic swinging up. Money flow index is now above the RSI. That's extremely important. That allows sustainability. That's why you follow the volume, and that's essentially what that's telling us here. And we're also over the moving average for the moment and about to converge on the MACD. So these are all extremely beneficial signs. Now, me personally, being kind of risk averse, I don't like taking a long at this. I wouldn't want to take a long right now, just based on the simple fact that it's overextended, and I don't like to take longs from breakout trades. But once more, there's a pretty significant breakout with significant volume. I would be surprised if we don't continue to 4,500, maybe even 4,700 is a better case scenario. So just know if you're holding ETH, it really depends on the type of bag that you're holding, of course, and more so, is it spot versus leverage, but just move your stop loss higher as you continue into profit. That's the important thing here. We don't know how much further up it will go, but we got a lot of support now at the $4,300 range. So if the price does pull back, that may be a consideration for long. All right, that's kind of roughly what we're looking at there. So ETH is awesome. Solana, also in the semi-awesome category. In other words, it held fairly well at this 0.382, that 175 range. Discussed that yesterday. We were at that point of control and that the large amount of moving averages in that area. So 175 is the tentative support, and once more, just keep in mind 185 is the resistance. It's too tight of a range for me to want to try to take a trade personally, but once more, if we take a look here, we can see 167 is that heavy concentration of open interest below the price, and as well 185 to 183 is that open interest resistance. When we look at liquidation, though, this is actually a very positive sign. We can see we've shifted bullish. We are no longer in the red. There's more longs than shorts in the market. They're probably coming for that 190 resistance here, or more importantly, 190 for that liquidation sweep above the price. So it may actually be a viable option to consider a long on this coin right now. Take a look at the daily time frame just to confirm. We're still maintaining above all moving averages. The fair value gap was not filled, and we're still in pretty good shape. So pretty much everything here is looking super awesome for Solana. We've converged. Pretty much, there isn't really anything telling us you should consider shorting. Okay, it's just it would be considered to be a high risk short. Keep in mind, a long going into resistance isn't always the best call, but it's really up to you and how you feel with that. But in this local range, ever since we've been 150 to 200 roughly, we've seen the most amount of volume at about 177 here locally, and we're currently above that. So closing above that point of control here would indicate further upside. Okay, so I'm excited to see what happens with Solana here today. Moving on to SUI, let's go ahead and jump into the back end first and kind of recognize where we're at. Ton of resistance above us, but we're starting to see a solid amount of support at 350. That's that lower open interest range. Okay, so ton of interest there, as well as 360. So once more, kind of reinforcing 350 to 360 as that solid support range, and as per usual, $4 to 420 as that resistance. Now we can see liquidation short delta is still high, so there's more shorts than longs in SUI right now. And if we look here at the last 7 days, we can recognize as well that majority of liquidation here locally has been swept. But there's still a chunk left down as low as 360. So we may see further downside, but this $4 range is looking quite appealing for those whales. I have a feeling we're going to see $4 here soon, as long as Bitcoin can sustain its current price point and not go much lower. So if we say 119 or higher for Bitcoin, we're going to be in pretty good shape. That does remind me to take a quick look here at Bitcoin dominance. It is still on the way down, which is effectively a very positive sign for altcoins. So we keep maintaining and retesting that support at 60% for Bitcoin dominance. Great chance we break down lower. Now, when we take a look here at SUI on the daily, we're kind of above all moving averages for the moment. The 4-hour time frame also reflects a lot of resistance. So I can see why people are shorting, because there's a lot of moving averages above the price action. And generally speaking, that can work as something that holds or suppresses the price down. But overall, for the most part, when we're looking at some of our lower indicators here, we can recognize we saw a nice bounce off 20 on the MFI, stochastic swinging up. Our RSI is now back up over our moving average, at least again for the moment. This candlestick hasn't closed officially yet, but that's kind of where we're at. So the key takeaway here is that 360 is a solid support, $4 is a solid resistance. We're at 380, so you can pretty much pick whatever you want at this point. Do you want to short at 4? Do you want to take a long at 360? Or do you take a long or a short right now? It's difficult to say. The truth is, this coin is it doesn't have any definitive direction, but I do like where we're at here, and that there should be somewhat of a short squeeze soon, just based on, once again, that super significant amount of short liquidation delta. Take a look here at XRP. This is a bullish type of flag pattern for XRP. We'll look at that in a second, but just recognize that we do have 320, 343, and then $3 even. Kind of easy way to remember it is $3, 320, and 340 are those three areas of support and resistance. We're smack dab in the middle of that again, right? So most coins are doing that, just like SUI, for example, and Solana, kind of stuck in these little ranges. So until we actually truly break out and close above specific resistances, it's generally best practice not to try to take a long into that. At this point, though, we have $1.5 billion in liquidation short delta, which essentially tells us the bears are still in control here. And once more, ton of liquidation between 335 and 345. So really, it's kind of a flip of a coin in that regard. Which direction is it going to go, right? But generally speaking, when you see these type of bullish type of patterns where it works itself into an ascending type of trend and it consistently retests that lower high pattern, establishing higher highs and higher lows here is going to be the important thing to look for. So if you can kind of see here, just to clarify, consistent lower lows, right? If and when we come up here and we start consolidating here and go up, that's when you want to consider a long, because that's generally going to be a bullish type of convergence. The key takeaway, though, is that we're above most of these moving averages, the important ones, I feel. And if you look at the daily time frame, even though there's a slight fair value gap left remaining, there's a decent chance we continue higher because we're progressing and maintaining above specific moving averages and over 50 in the RSI. So there's a lot of contributing factors letting us know that a little bit further upside makes more sense for this coin. I really don't think we're going to be monumentally moving to 5, 6, or 500 like some people say. But generally speaking, XRP is looking pretty awesome. So most coins are looking great right now. Just keep in mind, this is all CPI related. With this inflation data coming in positive, the market's kind of booming. Traditional markets are looking good. So that has its effect here. Now, is Asia going to go ahead and open their market later and sell? There's a possibility of that. But they've been known to pump the market continuously throughout the night as well, at least for us here in the States. So a lot of interesting stuff. Either way you look at it, I deeply appreciate you watching and hopefully learn something. Join us over on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, or cryptocash.tech if you want to become a better trader. I have a trading academy, community, and signals group. We've got a lot of new traders over there, and I highly recommend if you're reading through my signals here, of course, we're taking nice profits on Bitcoin, Crowcoin, handful of other coins here recently, right? ETH as well, and Doge too. When you take these signals, make sure you read through the trade alerts, folks. These are basically heads ups on every single trade I'm planning to take, and I explain why I take the trades that I take. Okay, it's all there for you, so make sure you take advantage of that. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, though. Thanks again. Last but not least, too, make sure you check out BitUnix too. I got to talk about this because we have a new deposit reward bonus as well as a first-time trading rewards. So if you use these guys or if you check them out, I highly recommend using. They're a phenomenal exchange. No KYC or VPN required. We use them consistently as a community. All right, have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Be safe out there. Take care.